All right, welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast.
Kevin's eyes look insane, but he's got new hair. Virginia is a witch, and she farts in her chair. Jason is a spaz who's got an old man's ass. Welcome to the After the Show podcast.
Alrighty, hello and welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast. Happy Wednesday. Virginia has left us here today. Her husband is getting sworn in to the Martin County Sheriff's Department. He's got a new job there. Now, he's not necessarily a cop on the streets, but he's doing a lot of their social media and stuff like that. And I guess when you kind of get in that, they welcome you right into the fraternity. And he's right in there. He's going to get himself an unmarked vehicle and all kinds of fancy stuff.
I wonder how much training he'd have to go through where he's legally allowed to arrest somebody.
Virginia was saying that he could become a deputy, and I think you'd have to go through all that. So until he becomes a deputy fully and is deputized with a badge, I don't think he'll be able to do that until then. But it is Virginia said that is an opportunity if he wants to take it.
Is that a long period of time you got to go through all that training? Or because some of the body cams I watch, I hear them talk about it, and it seems like you can go through the police academy rather quickly.
Yeah, it probably just depends upon, like with anything, how fast you move and how good of a prospect you are. So it might be different for different people, but never gone through it. Have no clue on how long it takes. But he's there, so I know he's excited. I know she's excited. So good for them, because we need that, because South Florida getting crazier. Really is. There's all kinds of insane things happening. We talked to Amy, who is kind of a friend of a friend, but she's great, and she lives in Palm Beach County, and she was flying out of Miami International and had a disagreement about a parking spot, and somebody took a tool and really tore up her car, the paint job at least.
See, that's why it is. You got to think twice when you want to get lippy with somebody you don't know. And even sometimes with people you do know. But if you're going out in public and you get into words with a complete stranger, you have no idea how unhinged they could be. And that's scary.
Yeah, people are just honestly maniacs. It is wild. I mean, I was talking about just last week, I was at a light. Light was green. It was one of the arrows green, and somebody's just sitting there in their car. The car in front of them had gone. I was the third in the light. They were the second. And they're just sitting there, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm like, hey, they're not paying attention. 5, 6, 7. I'm like, the light's going to turn. I just went, like a little tap. And then they just kept sitting there, and as the light went yellow and then to red, they took off and ran the red light and left me sitting there. And I was like, that's just so weird. Like, what the hell? Like, I get when the light turns green and people lay on the horn right away, and you're like, all right, that's uncalled for. But this was a dude that was just not, it's like, hey, all right, you can go.
I got a little bit of a different opinion than you in Virginia when it comes to the horn thing. There are some red lights and green lights that you only got about 3 to 5 seconds before that green light turns red. If somebody is not going on a green light, I'll wait a second and I'll lightly tap. Yeah. If not, you'll get Ralsted. Yeah. You're allowed to beep your horn if someone's not moving. And I don't get why that's a big deal or you're considered an asshole. The person not moving is a fuckface.
That's what I thought too. I'm like, you are the ultimate, I guess, and maybe you're just going through life and you're like, I'm just going to be a fuckface all day and that's just what I do, and I'm going to spread hate and anger and, piss people off, and, maybe that's his MO. If that was the case, then he was doing a great job.
You're not moving on an active road and someone's beeping the horn to let you know it's green, and the person that beeped is a fucking asshole?
I think if you were asking him, he would have been like, we're
getting gaslit by people who...
I agree, but that just lets you know how insane things are out there.
I don't think you should be a dick with your horn. Don't lay on it. Don't do that.
It was just great. I made it as fast of a tap as I could. Just be like, hey,
but if I can
pay attention, you need to go.
If I can see your silhouette and you're fumble fucking around in your car, and I can see that, I'm going to give you a little toot.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm a jerk for doing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then I was the one 10 minutes later got the speeding ticket.
Karma is a weird thing.
It is a weird thing. I'm like, it didn't work that day. It didn't work that day. Evil won. Well, and sometimes evil just wins.
And it's happened to me where I was the asshole and I didn't go on a green light because I was fumbling around. I expect someone to beep at me. I'm not offended if I'm not going. Mm-hmm. If you beep at me, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, some people in Lantana hit me up saying, you found out what we know, that there is that strip. And I think there's about 6 lanes, 3 going one direction, 3 going the other. And it's 35 miles an hour. And I could have swore it was 45 miles an hour, and I got a 44 and a 35. And I was like, all right, yeah, I mean, they're right. But it's just one of those things where you just feel like it should be higher. Now, Denny's was telling me yesterday that there was a story, and I still have not seen this story. He's like, the story's everywhere, man. Like, it's all over the place. And it was about them upping the speed limit on I-95 from 70 to 80. And I looked at everything today, and I still have not seen that story. I'm just kind of curious where that went. I don't know if anybody else had seen that. Are you still seeing that story, Denny's? Because I have not.
So I haven't looked again, but I found a couple websites that had it. So what it is they just passed that to go to Senate to be voted on to change the speed limit from 70 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour on the highway.
That is rather crazy.
I'm going slower in my old age. I don't even like speeding at all. I take the old man route.
Yeah, and look, honestly, the way I drive, that's what got me in Lantana was I really do not admittedly look at speed limits. I look at how other people are driving, and I drive accordingly, and I was the only car on the road. It was dark. I didn't see a speed limit sign, or I would have, addressed how I was driving, and that's what got me. Because otherwise, I don't even pay attention to the speed limit. I'm driving to survive. Yeah, it does say in Florida, the current speed limit on highways is 70 miles per hour, but recently the Florida House of Representatives passed a bill that would allow the speed limit to increase to 80 miles per hour on certain highways, which would be a thanks for the math. Yeah, they say it's still pending approval in the Senate, just like Denny's had said. So there it is, just came up. That's wild, man. But honestly, look, I comfortably drive 74, 75, and 80. Now, the only problem is everybody goes at least 10 miles an hour over the limit.
Yeah.
That's why I slightly have a bit of an issue with it. I don't want to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but to me, just tell all your patrol, give a little bit of a cushion to 80 or 85, but jacking the limit from 70 to 80, people will then be going 90 to 95 regularly. Because, look, I see all the time, man. When I drive 75, 5 miles over the limit, I am getting passed like I'm standing still.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. And sometimes I speed up to closer to 80 because I'm like, I feel like I'm going to get run off the road. You take it to 80, oh, my gosh.
I think my Jeep will start to shake if it got to 90.
Right. That's going to be a wild day. I mean, you think the roads are insane now. Just wait till we got a 80-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Well, I thought we were getting those hovering vehicles in the sky. Remember there was talk about that?
Yeah. I mean,
good luck with that.
They're still working on that. But, yeah, I mean, that's not something that is going to be for anyone that has, a regular salary. You're going to have to be the richest of the rich. And, South Florida's got that, which it's just nuts. And I'd asked that question, I think, actually not long ago, because I'd seen, I think Miami alone had 33 billionaires in it. I was like, well, I don't even know what the rest of the state is. But then I saw the figure. In South Florida, there are 53 billionaires. That's South Florida, with a combined net worth of $657 billion. That is up 13% from last year. So the rich are getting richer. Yay. And they say Forbes reported a record-breaking 3,428 billionaires worldwide. That is an increase of 400 from last year. That's just nuts, isn't it? So the rich are getting richer.
To go back to the whole speeding and all that, I just looked it up. In Texas, there is a speed limit of 85 miles per hour, and it's on a 41-mile stretch of Texas State Highway. 85 miles an hour? That's the regular limit?
But I will tell you, I've been through some of those roads that I think I know what they're talking about, and you could safely drive 80 to 85 miles an hour on that road because there's not a lot of traffic. It's not I-95 in South Florida. And that, to me, is what I'm looking at. And maybe they're not talking about that stretch of road, but anywhere from Palm Beach County through Miami, if you jack that to 80 miles an hour, it might be chaotic.
Other 80-mile-an-hour states, you got Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Oklahoma. So there's a shit ton out there.
Yeah, and I've been in Montana, and I could see why they have no speed limit there because it's just those desolate strips. It is flat. It is completely straight. And if you don't have any kind of bad weather, you can punch it and go. And you're going to be completely safe and fine. So, yeah, I think that's, the big difference.
Driving in the desert alone freaks me out.
Oh, it's
those
wild.
long stretches.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's wild, man. I remember one night still vividly where I was driving in the middle of the night. I was in the middle of California because I lived in Fresno. It's called the San Joaquin Valley, and it's desert and it's flat, and it is so dark. It's amazing when you don't have cities around. And I was listening to this guy named Art Bell on the radio, and he does all this alien talk and stuff like that. And here I am driving along, and I could swear I all of a sudden start seeing these lights that are like, I'm like, go figure, man. Like, here I am in the desert of California, just driving along and listening to Art Bell, and I'm seeing all these things that are flying around the sky. Tell you, man.
That is a recipe for an anxiety attack right there.
It was something. I was like, this is an odd moment. I don't know if I'm excited or if I'm just freaked out right now. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And to lend to that, now, I don't know, this post that Michelle had sent us, she said, I wanted to share this all since you're talking about, all the crazy things happening in South Florida, and then you obviously not taking or touching items from strangers. This apparently is a post, anonymous, from Tradition, maybe Port St. Lucie, and you can see a parked car and there's a bill. I don't know what the currency is. It's too small to see. Maybe it's a dollar bill, but it's sticking out of somebody's door right where you would open the door handle, like you would grab it. And, again, somebody could have set that up to make a post and put a dollar there and taken a photo of it.
Of course.
What's going on?
Fentanyl.
Yeah, so you do not know, but yeah, that's wild. That kind of stuff. Yeah, and I don't know what I would do if I came up. Yeah, they said it's at Target and Traditions. We noticed in somebody's car, money left.
I mean, the one thing I've noticed ever since Virginia said that whole 9 out of 10 men are up to no good in a parking lot, I just been really kind of trying to study parking lots. Man, the most fucked up shit goes on in a parking lot. Yeah. Parking lots are weird places.
There are. Well, I mean, that Amy who we talked to today that had her car. I mean, the fact that the guy then ripped her door open, and she said she thought that the car door should have been automatically locked because the car was running, but he ripped the door open and started cursing at her. She's like, it was pretty intimidating. If I was a dude, who knows? He might have come at me. And honestly, for that guy, he's lucky that he didn't run into a dude that was packing, because you open that door like that, kablam, blam, baby, you're down.
All it takes is one moment like that. It happened to me, and it happened to Virginia coming to work where someone tried to grab our door open. Mm-hmm. That's scary shit. So if that happens to you, anytime anyone approaches my Jeep, I'm thinking, are they going to try to open my door?
Florida, you do that. You grab for somebody's door handle, then you take your own life. That's the threshold that you are about to cross, that when you open that door, you don't know what could be on the other side, because they're likely going to be holding that gun low. And when that opens right up and you come in aggressively, kablam, blam, baby, and there's nothing that the law will do, baby. Yeah, you were right.
So you would get off on that if someone tried to get in your car and you, even
Castle
if they
doctrine.
weren't going to kill you, just the fact that they were...
Doesn't matter. You come in aggressive, it's the Castle Doctrine. If you're in your home, you don't have to sit there and be like, now, are you about to try to kill me or what's going on? No, if somebody comes in and they have crossed that threshold of opening your door and then coming at you or towards you in your vehicle, you have a reasonable threat that your life is in danger. And in Florida, kablam, blam, baby.
To me, if you step on the property where I'm living at, I think you're there to hurt me. If you're in my backyard, I'm going to assume you're there to fuck me up.
It's kind of the way it is. Who knows? Ryan in West Lake Worth Beach pointing out, saying, the other thing that's crazy too is not just the roads. What is up with all these helicopters and planes crashing? I live under the Lantana Airport flight path, and it's something I think about a lot. I have the ADS-B tracker, and some of these planes are very old, and they fly at low altitudes. There was a 1963 Cessna 172 flying right over my house this morning, and that's not a plane I'd want to be on. I've seen planes older than that before, too. I don't care how new the engines are or how much maintenance they get. A 70-year-old plane flying low over my house is scary. Pilots are running out of safe places to emergency land due to all the new development. Should I be concerned about this? I'm out driving in the mornings and have personally seen several planes go down, and one of them hit a mobile home, killing a college student inside the home and the pilot. Yeah, we had the teenager that landed on Indiantown Road in Jupiter just a couple Fridays ago. So, yeah, there is a lot of stuff that's going on. Yeah.
That does freak me out, though. There are times where I'll be out in my backyard and a plane will be super, super low, like oddly low. Mm-hmm. You go, why is that going on? Is it something with the atmosphere?
Yeah.
And do they ride that whole thing low like that to the airport?
Yeah, you just never know. There has been a lot of stories here in the last month and a half between small planes and helicopters that have crashed and lives have been lost.
I can tell you this much. If you go out in your backyard and you're peeing and a helicopter comes over and shines the light on you and hovers, it's tough to pee.
Oh, yeah, I can see getting stage fright on that.
Yeah, I got stage fright. That happened where the helicopter had to be fucking with me. They saw me I was naked.
Yeah.
They probably,
police helicopter, I assume, yeah.
Could you, I don't know, I couldn't tell. Could you see someone if they were naked, though, from a copter?
It depends upon how much light you had around you. You'd have to look at the environment. But yeah, it's possible, no doubt.
Scare the shit out of me.
But you're talking about those little taxis that we're talking about, the aerial ones. Yeah, you start putting those in the sky, you can tell me those are not going to have any kind of maintenance issues ever?
What could go wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, South Florida wild, man. It's about to get wilder. That's what's crazy. Well, one thing we were talking about here today, and we had some messages rolling in, but we got to the whacked out news too quick. We were talking about the policy at Trader Joe's where they'll let you open and try an item in the store, any item basically, but there are some exceptions. It's mainly the ready-to-eat items, snacks, dips, cookies, like that. Frozen raw foods, they're probably not going to prepare that and let you try that. But we're talking about who seems to have the best policy when it comes to this. I know some places like Nordstrom's, they used to have a no questions asked. You could return stuff, and I think they went back on that because they're losing their ass on it. And then somebody had mentioned the Aldi twice as nice guarantee. And Red said, yeah, it's a generous return policy for Aldi exclusive food products that provides both a refund and a replacement if you are not satisfied with the quality or taste. To qualify, you must bring the packaging, any unused portion, and the receipt to a store manager, usually for items bearing the twice as nice logo. Which I love that concept. But, you know, for me, for a lot of things, I want to know what I'm going to get. And if I take a chance and know that I'm not going to lose my ass on it, then I'd be all about it. In fact, I was kind of shopping around. One thing that hit me out, that stood out to me, I was thinking, well, you know, because I use the Chat GPT, maybe I've sold out too quick on what I'm using for my AI. And some people have talked about, oh, I prefer, what is it, Grok or whatever the other ones are that are out there. And so I tried that one. And I did one search, and all of a sudden it wanted to charge me like $100 for the year or something like that. Came up the price points, and I didn't get anything done. I'm like, you know, no, I've not used you enough. I'm not going to pay money without knowing what this service is going to be like. When ChatGPT, they let you pretty much run crazy, and then they say, all right, if you want more, you're starting to take advantage of us. Now you got to pay, and, you know, you either stop. But I've been close to saying, yeah, I really like what I'm getting out of this. Now I would pay because I love the service so much, but let me fall in love with it first. And then I'll give you all the money that you need.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, especially with all these AI programs. They're coming out with so many different ones. I'm already seeing comments of other better programs than the one we use.
Yeah, and Anna's saying, yeah, Grok is way better. And I've heard that as well, but I just haven't tried it out and seen it. And so what if I went in and bought the package that I want to buy, and I've spent $120 or whatever. I can't remember what they were charging for it. I just was like, yeah, I'm not paying that. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I hate this. And I'd rather go back to my free Chat GPT, but I've paid for Grok.
If Grok is good, Anna, let us know. Why is it so much superior than the regular Chat GPT?
Yeah, and you know, look, it might be superior for what you're using it for, and that could be the thing where depending upon what you need your AI for, we have select things that would probably not be the same as what other people want AI for. So that's what I want to make sure.
Yes, we work in the world of goofy.
Right, yeah, exactly. Somebody said similar to Trader Joe's, Target will let you try Target brand items. Good and Gather, the former manager, open packages would get discarded in our compost bins or donated depending upon the item. And another person said, yeah, Costco also guarantees every single product they sell.
Speaking of Target, we were talking about weird rules that, you know, companies have. If you go to Target, I think they have a policy where if you walk by a Target employee, they have to at least smile at you or ask you if you need help if you are a certain amount of feet away from them. So once you get to 6 feet away from a customer, it's in their policy. They got to either smile or ask you what you're doing. Okay. Or if you need help.
That's cool. I like that. And that has happened. And I'm always like, well, that's nice that they'd ask. I'm like, I hardly ever do, but it's just nice to know, because I've had that too, where I've walked right by somebody in a store and I'm clearly lost and I can't figure out what's going on. And I then will ask him, it's like, and they never make eye contact with you. It's like I'm bothering them. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to give you guys money. I just got to find what I need to get to give you money.
There's the perfect employee. They're the ones that they welcome you. They have a good attitude.
Yeah.
They ask if you need any help. They leave you the fuck alone. You ever have the person that follows you around the store?
Yeah.
Even after they've asked you for help, like, I'm good. You got to try this. It's got,
Be helpful, but don't be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I think these are the kind of things that are going to really start separating us from the robots. Those are the kind of things, if you want to look for a good skill set to have, how to be personable. And how to be able to read people.
There is a place I have to go a lot where I buy stuff at. It's not the drug place, the weed place. I won't say where it's at. But there are times where I'm not in the mood to deal with what's going on there because they take up a lot of my time and they ask me weird questions and they kind of make me feel a little weird because they'll just make me feel uncomfortable. So if I had a chance to go to this place with a robot, I might just do that, where I just buy my shit, get the fuck out, and don't have to talk to that person.
You might see more. We've not, at least for me personally, I've not crossed that where I would rather have a robot than a human because the robots still are too tedious and I feel like I'm taking extra steps. I don't feel like it's really reading quickly enough what it is I want. And maybe it's because it can't read my body language or it just has all these prompts and there's so many prompts that it has to go through where a human could assess maybe, all right, I see they're looking this way or what's going on. And now I can assess that you're probably looking for frozen foods because you're heading down that aisle. So, yeah, I don't think it's there yet, but it's not going to be far.
Yeah, I would rather have a human. I'm only talking about give me the robot if I know I'm going to a situation that person's annoying.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Well, we were talking earlier, too, with a lot of the younger generation, and even got some text to back it up, wanting to go with analog tech over the digital stuff. One, vintage is cool. Two, you own it, and it's a better experience. Having an album, a vinyl album with artwork and lyrics and things like that right then and there, they are seeming to like that. And I was, watching that show that I always watch on YouTube, and he had done a show that was all about, you think about if you had somebody that, with quantum computers now, that's what the episode was about, that it can crack any single passcode on planet Earth. And that was the whole scenario. And then if you could do that, you could take hospitals hostage. You could say, I'm shutting down every ventilator unless I get $10 billion, like wired to crypto or in this account, whatever, that's untraceable in an hour. And they really legitimately would have that power. And talking about even government agencies, that there are vaults and underground places that they're really storing secrets and information and things like that because you do need hard copies of stuff.
Yeah, I remember, I forget what system it was on, but I bought all of the Star Wars movies and they were all digitally on my whatever it was for the TV, whatever company I was with at the time. And I had all of the movies, and as soon as I moved out, all of them got wiped away and I had to buy them all again.
Yeah, right. And people are seeing that. And then just having the control. And then the same show that I watched had done another one about malware that had written itself. AI did. It escaped. And then it basically held the human race hostage. And you couldn't go anywhere or do anything. Even trying to start a car, it would know immediately where you are and what was going on. It could turn that off. And to prove that that is not too far-fetched, there was a cyber attack on Intoxilock, one of America's largest ignition interlock device suppliers that left drivers unable to start their vehicles for over a week back in March. They said their systems were compromised with full resolution not achieved until the following Sunday. It prevented mandatory monthly device recalibrations at local service centers. So you have a glitch or somebody hacks in there during a cyber attack. Imagine that. If somebody got through to Tesla, could you imagine every Tesla owner not being able to operate their vehicle?
Well, just think if all of a sudden the internet just stopped working. Something happened in the atmosphere where it just shut down and the backup, whatever, doesn't work. How fucked are we?
Yeah.
Pretty fucked.
Absolutely. No, that could be a reality. So you're just like, wow, man.
Now, would the people who aren't really into the digital tech world, would they do better than... If the internet went away with the people who are old school, would they do better if that all went down?
I really think it's how you've designed your lifestyle. And to me, it has given me pause to start thinking because I've been all in on the robot agenda and heading down the path of, let's just go everything, digital tech, AI, all this kind of stuff. But that is the big issue, is if it gets compromised, And they're saying with some of this quantum computing, it easily could, where you lose control over it. All of a sudden, you don't have access to anything. You can't get into the bank. You can't drive your car. You can't do all this kind of stuff. And you start thinking about it. Like I said, when I had internet issues this last week, I was like, man, it is crazy when you cannot, and you've built your life around something and are dependent upon it, and then you can't use it. And that's the thing, where anything that is analog, it's just a hard copy of it. If you have electricity, it pretty much works. But anything that is wired to the web or anything along those lines, it's interdependent upon that. And if that goes down, it's inoperable. And what do you do now?
I mean, even just daily tasks that you don't even think of that kind of rely on the whole digital scale.
Yeah.
You'd go, oh, shit, that's right. I can't do that. Oh, I can't do this. Even little things you can't even think of right now. It would screw you over in a way that you're not even expecting it.
What I realize is I've built up a dangerous dependency on digital technology, and I don't have a plan B. And I think that's what you need to look at. Do you have a plan B? Look around your life and your house and say, wow, if that didn't work today, what would I do in place of that? And you have somebody that lives in the country and they hunt for their food and they grow it and all that kind of stuff. They're like, don't bother me.
I think they'll be okay.
They're going to be fine. Absolutely. Because they haven't built their whole life around tech. And if you've built your whole life, every convenience, if you have a smart house, think about that, man. If you have a smart house with the front door lock and your refrigerator and all your appliances and everything talking together, and all of a sudden they say, boycott, baby, we're done. Like, what the hell do you do then?
I know it's part of the KVJ drinking game anytime I bring up the Twilight Zone, but there's a Twilight Zone episode about there was one family that was preparing for it all to go down and everyone else wasn't. And then when it did go down, everyone in the neighborhood wanted to go to that one bunker. They're like, fuck you. I got me, my wife, and my kid.
Yeah, right.
You go get your own bunker.
You know, it sounds almost like a Noah's Ark kind of concept.
Yeah.
Where you have the one crazy loony dude who's doing something nobody else is doing, like going, yeah, right, yeah, it's going to rain, whatever. And then all of a sudden they're like, let me in. And yeah, it does make me think a little bit. Yeah, one of the comments says, yeah, more folks should learn to grow their own produce and open community gardens. And I am thinking in the back of my head, what would my life look like if every digital dependency I've built up over the last 2 decades just went away? What would my daily life look like? Because I got a glimpse just losing internet for 6 days, and it drove me insane. I was like, it's inoperable. What the hell am I doing, man?
We'd have to go back to old school radio.
That was what I was telling my wife. I'm like, 1993 Kev is yelling at 2026 Kev, be like, oh, wow. Because when I started radio, I didn't have the internet. I didn't have all this kind of stuff. We were going through newspapers. And I was doing analog equipment. And I had tape and all this kind of stuff. And we could do a show. We didn't even think about it. We didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't know what we didn't have. And we made it happen. But look, if everything went down today, we ain't doing a show. I was talking to Denny's about this just yesterday. And he's like, yeah, our cameras are this, are that. Everything is set up. It is all has to talk to each other. You have to have electricity. You have to have internet connection. If you don't, we ain't doing a show today.
We'd have to go old school where you guys would have to come to the theater we're performing at and we'd have to vaudeville that ass.
Yeah.
That would be the way.
That'd be it, man. And that would be crazy. And look, if that all hit at once, the freak out that we'd have on planet Earth immediately, that would be crazy. Now, I think eventually, yeah, we'd settle into it. You give it a couple months, years, whatever, and just like we did during the pandemic, we would adapt quickly. But man, you would be shook.
There'll be some fallout. Not everyone will get out of that unscathed.
No, you'd have people dying and going crazy and all that stuff. So there would be an upheaval. But
well, that's the one thing I think we don't even ask ourselves. If you're not really in that tech world, we just kind of assume the internet is here and nothing will ever take it away. It's like the sun. But have you ever asked that question? Really thought about what happens if the internet doesn't work? And it all goes to shit. God, I have no idea how that process is.
It's going to be crazy.
I think most people don't know how that process is.
When I even saw this one thread, people were talking about an inconvenience from the past that would be unbearable today. And it is kind of funny because, look, we are living such a good life. And I don't know if anybody wants to go back, but it would be good for us to at least have the ability to flip the switch if we did have to go back, that we could jump right back into 1993 and continue living, and people in hospitals aren't going to die, and our cars are not going to just be sitting on highways. and things like that, that I think that we always have to have that plan B, and we're not doing that right now. Some of the stuff they said, only one person could use the internet at a time, and that also meant nobody could use the phone until they got back off the internet. And that was the early days of it.
Oh, that never worked.
I couldn't imagine in my house right now with my son wanting to use the internet to play his video games and my wife watching her shows and me then trying to do work, and I'd have to be fighting with both of them, be like, I need that slow internet right now. That'd be a nightmare. Taking 4 hours just to download one song. Boy, that felt like my life this last week with the internet that went out.
Calling someone's house just to talk to them and communicate, or a letter. You're not going to be texting them. You're not going to be DMing them.
Waiting to use a payphone. Remember that crazy concept? Somebody be on the phone and you're waiting to make a call and a payphone?
Am I the only one that thinks that payphones always just look so seedy, and it always involves a crime?
Well, I remember when they were around, you would always have like the old dudes would have their handkerchief, that cloth handkerchief, and they'd take it out to pick up the receiver because nobody wanted to touch them back then.
Yeah, think about how gross an old payphone was. We're just putting that up on our ears.
We're better off without them, but you may laugh until we actually do need them again.
Well, we were trying to do a bit a few years back, and I think this was at maybe even station, maybe it was here, I can't remember, but it was at least 8 or 9 years ago. You wanted to find a payphone. We couldn't find a working payphone in Palm Beach County.
That was back at Station 1. Yeah,
was it?
Right at the end, because we'd had a bit where we were just calling a payphone to see who would answer. And that was, we've been doing this 26 years ago. So that was probably 24 years ago that we were doing that bit. We actually could have payphones.
We sent Virginia out to find the payphone. She's like, Kev, I can't find no fucking phones.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the other crazy stuff, calling to get movie times, remembering phone numbers. Yeah, that's just it, too. I know my wife's phone number. I know my phone number. I don't know that I know any other phone numbers other than the radio. I know the radio station, my phone number, my wife's phone number.
I know your number by heart. I don't know Denny's because he changed his.
I can recognize yours if I see it. I'd be like, if we had all 4 of the show's numbers, I think I'd be able to pick out whose is which, but I can't rattle your guys' numbers off.
Yeah, it shows me I really don't pay a lot of attention to details because, I should.
Well, I think really the whole point of this discussion is we trust all this technology that is new, that has been built, that it's always going to be there and it's always going to be working. And we've disregarded needing a plan B. And that's really it. Maybe you need to start memorizing a few phone numbers. Maybe you need to start saying, what if my smartphone didn't work today? How would I get along? What would life be like?
Maybe the homework assignment for everybody today is go out in the backyard or go out in the soil and try to grow a cucumber.
Yeah, start to learn some of those skills and say, what are the analog skills that I truly need to know? And we should start teaching crash courses on digital free living so that if it all goes to hell and it just disappears, which it could, and we're seeing how now it could, how would you survive? And you'd be able to flip the switch and be like, all right, so I don't have it. It's just going to be a little bit more chill and I'm okay with it. Life goes on.
I love watching old clips of stuff from the 80s and 90s, even the 70s, especially if it's in Palm Beach County or South Florida. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy to see how different everything looks. I mean, this place was wide open. Even before you guys got here, there was not a lot of buildings, but a lot of the building of, everything we've got out there, you guys came kind of halfway through that. This place used to be wide open.
Yeah, well, I mean, just know what I've seen change in 26 years, especially out west. It's crazy. I am blown away, and I'm fascinated when they do those time-lapse videos and they show how, whether it be Wellington or some of those communities, just how they were vacant, and then all of a sudden, you're like, wow, look at that growth.
The one that changed the most is Miami. You look at Miami back in the 50s, looks nothing.
You don't even go that far. You go back to, there's footage I've seen in the mid-'70s, and there's maybe 2 or 3 decent-sized buildings, but they're not super tall. They're the kind of buildings that you have that are West Palm Beach size.
It almost looks like a Stewart.
Yeah, it does. No doubt. I mean, Miami, I think, was kind of regarded as a sleepy little area until cocaine brought us alive.
That'll wake you up.
That's right. I'm awake now. Let's party. I think it's kind of how it went. Kind of crazy, man. Really is. One other thing we were talking about today, too, was Virginia to ask the question, George W. Bush, what does the W stand for? We thought it was Walker, but we weren't sure. And then I got this text and it says, yes, it is Walker. His aunt actually lived on Jupiter Island, and my mom was her bookkeeper. And his aunt's dog, Caper, bit his hand one time, and his hand got infected, and they had to keep it hush-hush because GW, when he was pres, couldn't sign anything official for several days. You know, the president's got a...
Yeah.
And so, yeah, GW, because of the dog bite that happened on Jupiter Island, couldn't sign anything.
Whoa.
I was like, that's kind of interesting.
Injury? A signing injury?
Signing injury. Yeah, you never think when you're the president. I mean, I guess that's why they have always doctors follow him around all the time. Because, yeah, if any of his body parts go limp or ineffective, you know, it can wreck the free world.
I would love a truthful glimpse of what goes on in the White House with all presidents. I would love to know, you know how you get documentaries behind the music? Yeah. I would love a truthful behind the president of so many presidents, because I think some shit gets crazy that we never hear about.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. I bet it's probably a lot like the TV show Veep. Not as funny.
Not as funny, but crazy.
Well, and I think you have a lot of competitiveness. I think you have a lot of people that get butt hurt, and they're, you know, probably pretty petty.
It's pretty, you know, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. They're going to go for the throat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Well, for those 53 billionaires that we've got in South Florida, you're probably all headed off to the Palm Beach International Boat Show today. They're going to be opening up with more than $1 billion in inventory. And they say one of the largest super yachts they have out there is a 257-foot Lursen that can accommodate up to 14 guests in 7 cabins. Can you imagine that? Your boat has 7 bedrooms. It's pretty wild, man. So there you go. Rich people always got something to do.
Well, if they've got 7 bedrooms, that means they've got 14 bathrooms. I don't know what it is about rich people, but they love multiple shitters.
They don't like the concept of anybody who would be sharing a toilet. If you've got to go, you always find a place. Rich people do not wait in line for a bathroom.
They have so many bathrooms.
Yeah, they could not even imagine the concept. All right, y'all. Well, thank you. Unfortunately, we did not get to ancient civilizations here today. We ran out of time. I guess we'll have to do that at another date.
Would love to.
Yes. Me, myself, Jay Bird, and Denny's. We're going to try to do the most boring podcast in history.
I think more people would like it than you think.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll see how many people we could get to. Actually, I couldn't wait to see those numbers. We have to do it now just to see if we get over 10 people to check it out.
I'm in, man.
Okay. All right. Can we break 10? That'll be our little quest we'll have at some point coming up. Thank you all for the emails. Send them to us, mail at kvjshow.com. Enjoy your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.